What is going on, Kingdom? So today I am back with another message. Today I am back with something I'm going to be talking about. I'm just being real, being transparent, and touching a little bit more on this subject, on this topic here, this matter that I feel like it's important for us to talk about and speak about and be real about today, which is our emotions. I'm going to be diving a little bit more deep into the topic of emotions today, and when we go through things such as depression and anxiety and things along those lines, but even more getting deep, because I talk about those quite often here. This is gonna be more of a transparent message. I'm not gonna be talking too loud. This is gonna be more just me talking to you today because I've been struggling. I've been in a struggle season here with what I've been going through internally. I've been in a struggle season, and you may even be able to see that by the way that I am speaking. I'm not like, what is going on, guys, today? Even though I just got done promoting my my album I'm gonna be releasing soon here. I just feel like at the same time I can't always just sit and be like, yeah, everything's going great. And I want to be a little transparent here today. So I want to talk about what I've been going through internally, not like on a deep level, but just like on the surface, what I feel like God is putting me through here today. Oh shoot, my sweater. That's okay. What I feel like God has been putting me through here today, what he's been putting me through in the past couple of days here. And he's been giving me the chance to address some of my emotions, some of the things that I've had going on deep down within inside that I haven't even realized that I had. Things that made me feel sad, and things that have really just impacted my life that I didn't really get to fully address within myself. You get what I'm saying? Things that have made me feel jacked up, stuff that's happened in my past, stuff that's happened, nothing like too crazy or nothing, but just stuff that, as you go on and you move throughout life, you start to sort of push back things that have made you feel jacked up within your life. You sort of push those things back, and so you kind of become a bit more numb to those emotions and those feelings. But I feel like I'm going through a season now where it's like things that I've gone through, struggles and things are starting to come back to me internally. What the pain that I had dealt with is sort of coming back to me internally. That's what I feel like I've been going through recently. And so I just want to say, because anybody who may be watching this, who may be going through that, where it's like, why am I feeling so down all of a sudden? Why am I feeling so jacked up all of a sudden? Which it is, that's what depression is, right? Depression is like the main topic, that I would like to speak on, where it's like when you feel depression, it's not really about the outside circumstances going on with your life. It's more like there's pain involved internally that's making you feel weighed down, that's making you feel jacked up, that's making you feel like, man, I can't I can't do nothing. I can't do nothing, not even because it's just I can't generally do nothing, but because there's just so much weight weighing me down. And this is why I talk about acknowledging emotions. We have to be able to acknowledge the emotions and the pain and the problems that we have faced within our lives. We have to be able to acknowledge them. We have to be able to feel them out, which I made the video on that, but I still would like to speak on acknowledging it anyways. Acknowledging our emotions comes from things like, one is the keys of knowledge, which I've also spoken on before. The keys of knowledge, and I'm just saying that to say, that I understand these topics a bit. I would say with the keys of knowledge, right, it's like you have the understanding of what's best. What the depression and the feeling, it's not really a good thing, even though you're feeling it, and it's not like it's just gonna stop when you just know it should stop. It's not gonna stop. But with the keys of knowledge, you can continue to apply those into your brain as you go throughout the days. When you have a depressive episode where you don't feel good, where you feel jacked up, this isn't really, this has no weight, this isn't really, and continue to apply those keys of knowledge throughout days. It could take days, months, it could take a long time, but that's just one way that I believe that we can manage to make a difference in the emotions that we're facing, in the depression, in the anxiety, which can be hard because it can be easy for us to sit in it, right? It's almost like depression could be addictive in a way. Isn't that weird? It's almost like it could make us just feel like, man, it's just this just feels best anyways. For some reason, it's like that. It's that part of us that just doesn't really want to do anything anyways, and we just want to let our emotions sort of keep us to the side. Man, forget everything. Let's just go through this. And it's hard to explain, but I understand that feeling, and it's another thing I've been going through. Trust and listen, I went throughout this morning today not really doing much. It took me like a dang hour and a half just to finally get in the dang shower while just walking around not doing nothing. It's been difficult, and it's things that we go through because of we take the time in life. We move so quickly in life. We move so where we have to be strong. We have to put on a good impression for people that we really can't sit there and deal with the emotions and things that we have going on at the time. Instead, we choose, listen, I'm going to go and I have to block out. I can't let these emotions take me over. It could be a death. It could be, I mean, that happens. That's a frequent thing sometimes that we feel like when when somebody we love passes away, and then we feel that kind of pain. But we have to say, I have to be strong for you and I have to keep it moving. So we never get the proper chance to deal with and feel the problems and emotions that we had gone through. That could be 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20, however long it may be for you. It's tough. Dealing with emotions and things that, when we live in a world where it's so much we're not going to be real with each other. We're living in a world where it's social media. It's freaking, we have to look the greatest that we can for this job, for these people, for this business. And especially with social media, the expectation is higher than ever. Ain't that crazy? Right? You see all these people with these fancy cars and all this fancy stuff going on. And it's like, I'm sure a businessman would look at that as the way that's the best for a person to have in my business. So they look for people that make themselves look perfect. But guess what? We're all messed up. We're all imperfect. So actually, deep down inside, that same person that looks so perfect is just as jacked up as you are, but they're just that much better at faking it. They're just that much better at looking different. They're just that much better at looking good. But really, the people who look the best a lot of the time are the ones going through some of the most, because they're faking it and they're hiding it all the way most down. And if they really took time to have to sit and look in the mirror, dog, oh my goodness. You get what I'm saying? And I just know that it's weird because I sort of have been like that in a way. Not as much, but I have. With the videos that I've made even years back, that I worked very, very hard. I made a lot of videos throughout my time, I've been doing this stuff for like 6 years. And it's like, throughout like the past 2-3 years when I was making a lot of, content more related to mainstream topics and things, gaming, things along those lines. I was going through rough things in my life as well. I was going through rough situations, I mean, whatever yours may be, all of ours are probably different. But I know what mine's are, and maybe I'll elaborate on those more than another time. But for now, I just want to say, that I was going through some junk, and it's like, during that time, I was so busy being like, I have to make it. I have to get to this point. I have to get these views. I have to get these likes so I can look better, so that I can be better, and so that I can feel better about myself. How many of that is us? That's a lot of us. That's a lot of us, yo. That's pretty much all of us, especially younger ones in this generation. It's tough, but that's pretty much all of us, yo. I still struggle with it to this dang day. You get what I'm saying? Like, I have to look good for this. I have to look good for this video. This video has to look good. I'm trying to let that down a bit so I can be authentic. My message is authenticity, right? Because it's important for us to be real with ourselves. But how do we be real with ourselves in a world where we can't be real with ourselves? Ain't that some junk? We live in a social media era. We live in a social media generation where all that we care about is what looks good. I mean, let's be honest here. It's what we care about. You know what I'm saying? All that we care about is what looks good. And you know what's most rough about it when it comes to society? Race. Race is another piece of it. Growing up as if you're a person of color, or honestly, specifically, if you're a black person, you're looked at differently already when you grow up in society and when you're in society. So you, of course, may feel like, yo, I have to put on the biggest front out of everybody because I already don't freaking look good in society. I already freaking, just based off of the color of my skin, I already don't, like, I'm just saying that's likely the perspective that you have to go through. I don't fully know, because I'm a person of color. I'm a mixed kid, but I'm not dark skinned. And when you're dark skinned in society, you're looked at different. When you're dark skinned in society, you're looked at different. So that's another thing, that's why I talk so much about the topics of racism, because it's important to dig into the dirt as to what's gone on in society, right? And that's another thing with race, right? Race is another thing. And this is why we see a lot of the time, it's like they manage to twist so much of that too when it comes to the black community, where it's like you feel like you have to have all these chains on, you gotta have all these nice cars, this nice clothes. It's all promoted to the black community. You will see these white billionaires wearing freaking bummy stuff. Like, I mean, let's be real here. They be wearing freaking pajama pants outside. Let's be honest. They don't be, but it's different, when you grow up. If you're just a young person growing up in the black community, it's like you feel like you have to look this certain way because this is how people are going to accept me, because this is the generation that we live in. Ain't that some junk? And that's kind of been going on even before social media, but it's increased since social media. So that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing that you have to go through with racism and with things along those lines, right? Ain't that some junk? So that's another thing that's important to speak about. And then what also is important is just, it's so much, but all I know is that I've kind of been going through a sense of, depression. I've been going through senses of anxiety, and God has been putting me through, the times where I'm able to face these issues and emotions that I have gone through way back. And that's something that I think is important for us to have to do at some point in time, is to address and feel, because that weight has still been there and I didn't even realize it. This I knew that there was weight, but I didn't know what it was, and now I'm really starting to fill out what the weight was that I was going through since I started being a teenager, right? So I'm just trying to learn to address that with the keys of knowledge is one thing, and with people talking and getting into community. I've talked about this before, but this is why things like church are important. And no, I don't think it's good to go to church and it's just like, I have to fake it, I have to dance, I have to be this good. No, and that shouldn't be church. And that's what church is. I feel like that, not all of them, right? But that's what some churches make it to be. It's about freaking, and like I said, I love my church. I love my church. It's not like this, but there are a lot of churches where it's like, we're going to get this money. We're going to get this and do this, and it's like these people need to look this way, and we all need to look. And it's like God says, "Come as you are," right? And you should come as you are when you're in the church. And I mean, for real, come as you are. Whatever you're feeling, you need to feel comfortable. That's your home. That's your community, and that's what we all need. And that's what God can bring us. And that's what I'm thankful for, that God has brought me as a person who's felt very alone throughout my time. I'm an only child. But I've been brought such a big community, and that's all by the grace of God. I'm telling you right now. So that's another thing that we that I just want to speak on, and that is important for us to talk about and be real about. Right? You know what I'm saying? Is the church, is the community. That's another thing as to facing and going through. And don't be alone. Sometimes you have to be alone. Sometimes you have to sit down and say, you know what? I'm gonna do this by myself. I'm gonna do this where I'm gonna process my emotions. I'm gonna process my feelings. I'm gonna process it. I'm gonna talk to God. I'm gonna pray to Him. And not just because I feel like I have to, but because this is the way. This is the way I'm gonna do it. So that's another thing. I'm going right after I do this, right after I do this video. Soon enough, here I'm gonna be talking with my mentors in my church, and that'll be a really, really nice thing to do. And just to be real, just to speak out what I've gone through. I go through a lot of anxiety. I go through a lot of self-image. I don't like myself in a lot of ways. I go through a lot of junk in here. I go through a lot, bruh. I go through a freaking lot, and I say that to say, that I feel for anybody that deals with that. I'm a person who can understand and relate, especially, coming from, an area where you feel like you have to look good, you have to look tough, you have to be a certain way, when it shouldn't be like that. But that's how people make it. That's how people make it, That's how people make it. If you don't fit in with this whole thing that the world has twisted you to feel like you have to be, if you don't fit in with that junk, then you ain't nobody. And that's how a lot of the world wants to make it feel. And yes, they specifically want to target the black community with this kind of mindset. And I've spoken about it so many different times on the channel, but we have to start talking about this. We have to start being real about that too, with racism, with what's going on against the black community, with what's going on with the influence, with what's going on in the music, with what's going on in the encouragement, and with what's going on in the drug abuse, and with what's going on in the ways to make money here. We have to, and with the over obsession of the way that I look to society. Because I've been looked at so jacked with the society for so long that I'm constantly racing and trying to make it into a position to where I look acceptable. Sadly, a lot of these, whoever controls a lot, I don't know. It's gonna be rough, but they ain't gonna look at really. No, like they're trying to keep the people at the bottom, and the people at the top. Ain't that some junk? That's it's why I work so dang hard now, because it's about bringing unity. We need to bring unity, and that's not just about emotions too, but it's about, in general, what God wants for us is to bring unity towards everybody. That's the way, because God is the Almighty. He is the Almighty here. He can, He's here. We have to accept him though, and accept that he's here, and accept that he can make the change. But we have to work by his principles. We have to work in community, and so things along those lines is facing depression as well and facing struggle in society, right? But I can't really fix anyone's problems, and I'm not gonna claim and sit here that I can. I can't do that. But I can make videos and I can speak for a while, and just hopefully somebody can relate to what I'm talking about here, So that's all that I really got to say. I'm here. I got more stuff coming out soon too, if you want to check it out. If you don't really want, you don't have to. I mean, that's not to sound freaking cool. I'm just being honest here. I don't really want nobody to listen to my stuff if they don't like it, So there's that. But anyways, thank you. God bless you. Have an amazing morning, evening, and night. You take care. And thank you. God bless you. Thank you.